Welcome back to Where the North End Walk. We are not just previewing the Arsenal game this week, but we're also going to review the crazy game against Plymouth Argyle. 3-3, leading 3-0. Madness. Ash and Etienne have got a few things to say about it. Welcome to the quickest and most comprehensive review of all things Preston on the internet. Welcome. Delighted to be joined by our Arsenal fan, Tristan, who I'm sure will be heading to Deepdale this week. And we'll kick off with that game, if that's all right. How are you, Tristan? Thank you for coming on and talking to us.
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, let's get straight into it. Ash and Etienne, obviously Preston fans, are hoping that Mikel Arteta's going to turn up with the youth squad on Wednesday night. What are the chances of that, Tristan?
I think based on the previous game against Bolton, it's probably going to be a bit of a mix. Obviously, star boy or new star boy is Ethan Nwaneri, who got a couple of goals last time. So even though that's youth, I think he's probably done enough to justify being in the first team at the moment. So I wouldn't look at it as a weakness. But yeah, it will be a blend of obviously squad players, young players, and some of the first team.
You didn't have it all your own way against Bolton, if I remember rightly. Was in that game? I mean, obviously you went through, but Bolton had a fair share of the game.
Yeah, I mean they were quite competitive. Obviously, the end result was pretty comprehensive. But I think perhaps we slightly underestimated them, and obviously they came with their A game, and they wanted to kind of cause an upset, but I think in the end it was pretty comfortable. And the keeper wasn't really tested very much. Obviously, it was a young 16-year-old at the time. So, I thought they were going to put him under a bit more pressure than they did.
Ash, it's going to be it should be bouncing for this one on Wednesday night. You have got your light show. Is it a near sellout? Do we know? Yeah,
well, it looks that way. I was looking at tickets today, and it's generally kind of one seat here, one seat there. It's mostly singles. There's a block in the Invincibles that seems to be unsold almost, but I think they released that last. So it should hopefully be some atmosphere for once. So we'll see.
Okay. It is the original Invincibles against the Invincibles here, Tristan, isn't it? Have you been to Deepdale before yourself?
I haven't, no. I'm relatively familiar with the stadium, and I know that they've got like some of the legends patterned in the seats, which I've always thought looked quite cool and quite unique. But I think it'll be exciting to go up there for the first time.
Etienne, are we going to be full strength on Wednesday in terms of injury suspensions? Obviously, apart from Osmajevic, are we looking good?
We're missing Brady. Whether a lot of people consider him a big miss or not, that's a completely different question. I think there could be like a couple of changes. I think Ledson will start. I think he'll probably try and get Ockles in, try and get some of the other fringe players in, but mostly I want to see us go full strength, because if Arsenal go and put a few youth players in, as good as they can be, we're going to be working as a unit, working as a team, and I want us to go out and get a result.
Tristan, do you worry about that? That you're coming against a championship side. I think at the start of the season you would have easily beaten, but this is a Preston side that have got a little bit about them in the last couple of weeks. Yes, they do concede a bit, but they are together as a team and working for the new manager.
Yeah, no, I mean we've been stung in the past from championship teams. I think one that lives in the memory is a Nottingham Forest result against us quite recently. So I think if we're off our A game and they're obviously on it and they're going to be a bit more pumped up, then anything can happen. So not going to count any chickens at the moment.
Okay. Is it fair to say that this is the least of Arteta's priorities, this competition, Tristan? You give the Preston fans a bit of hope?
I mean that is the truth, really. And that's always the danger with any Premier League club who doesn't really prioritize it. If you've got one eye on the next Premier League or Champions League, whatever fixture, then that can be really dangerous for you. So yeah, there's a chance. There's a decent chance for Preston, I think.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to watching. Get a score prediction from you, Ash.
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know. I actually get the feeling we might put a change team out as well. I said online 4-0 to us at halftime, 5-4 Arsenal, but that was just a joke. I don't know. I think it'd be quite close. I think maybe I'm going to go 2-0 or 2-1 Arsenal.
Okay. Tristan, not obviously difficult not knowing what sort of team's going to turn up, but
yeah,
given what happened against Bolton, given what you know a little about Preston, what would you say?
I think I was going to say 3-1, but I'm going to be a bit more conservative and go with 2-1 Arsenal.
All right. Okay. Etienne.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-1 Arsenal as well, but I think we'll score first. Just to ride out the momentum in the first 20 minutes and then sit back.
Okay. All right. Listen, enjoy the game. Thank you very much, Tristan, for joining us. And we won't let you sit through our review of Plymouth Argyle versus Preston North End. We'll bid you farewell. Thank you so much for joining us.
Nice one.
Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, mate. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Coming up then on this week's episode, of course, we are talking about losing Leeds 2-0 up against Norwich, 3-0 up against Plymouth. Should have been 6 points, but ends up as 2. We'll look back at Plymouth, and of course, we're looking ahead to Bristol City, of course, as well, with both Ash and Etienne. Harvey is working this week. Oh, goodness, folks, where do we start? We could start with all the positives of scoring 5 goals and racing into Leeds. But we're going to have to start with the obvious, aren't we? Ash, what the hell happened at Plymouth?
Yeah, it's the perfect metaphor for our season. For about 60% of it, we were great and we looked like we could win the league. And then for the other 40%, we just looked like relegation candidates. It was crazy. I'm not sure on a couple of the subs, especially bringing Thordarson on. I think that really didn't help. I think it should have been Ledson that came on and we should have tried to hold. I get Hecky wants to be positive and constantly try and attack, but yeah, it was a bit of a shambles, to be honest. It was, I wasn't happy.
The Plymouth fans we spoke to echoed this social media tweet from a Northern lad. He said something is wrong and someone needs to fix it. Whiteman has been out of sorts since returning and taking up the captain's armband. We could have been 8 up if we actually focused. And that's the bit that Plymouth fans said, that you actually could have been quite easily 5-0 up at half-time. Such was the dominance in that first half. So it's not just the defensive bit we've got to look at here, Etienne, is it? It's actually taking our chances when they arrive again.
Yeah, if you look at the highlights, you look at some of the shot maps, Greenwood misses at least 2 big chances, Reece misses one of his own, and you can see why people are beginning to get onto the backs of our attack, because last season we were putting away these chances left, right and centre, even though we weren't creating any, and now that we're creating quite a few, we just can't seem to put them away, and it's unforgivable. If we won 3-1, I don't think anybody would be as worried, but 3-3, when you're throwing away these leads, it's basically unforgivable. I don't care that Greenwood scored. He should be putting away his other 2 chances.
I feel slightly at fault ourselves because we've praised Woodman, of course, last week and gave him his flowers, and then it's the 3rd goal, isn't it? I can't even bring myself to talk about it. I mean, ultimately, he's got to do better, hasn't he?
Yeah, and what I've noticed is every time we praise him, he does terrible in the next game, and then every time we give him grief, he seems to play well. But for me, and I think it's been a consistent issue with him, he just doesn't look big enough to command the box and come for crosses. When we had Iverson previously, he just come and get the ball. And I don't think Woodman's physical enough, perhaps, and I think that's his biggest drawback, because shot stopper, from the long range shots, from even inside the box, I'm confident he's going to save them. But anytime the ball's in the air, it's like a bomb scare.
The Norwich game was a strange one, Etienne, as well, wasn't it? Because you raced into that 2-0 lead. And I know Norwich are a far better side than Plymouth, so you would have expected a bit of a fight back. But were you surprised at just how easily they were able to score?
Not surprised at how easy they scored because they are a good side, but I was surprised that Shane Duffy was the one putting it away and how we didn't really track him. I was looking at defending; it was pretty pathetic for that second goal. The first one, the Signs goal, Woodman could do a bit better, but he's done really well to finish it there. Norwich are a good side, but again, they weren't good on the night. We were a lot better than them, I thought, or a bit better than them, but we shouldn't be throwing away a lead against them. Especially when they're playing like that.
Okay. 2 points when it should have been 6 and well away from that relegation zone. And then, of course, Arsenal, this week. Bristol City, though, at home as well this weekend. It's your old pals, the battle for 12th and 13th fixture always comes up. It's the reverse game of the season as well, the last game of the season reversed as well, because you'll be heading to Ashton Gate on the final day. What Ash do you generally think will be on the line when you meet again in May?
I think the mid-table championship, as per usual. I think in the current state, it would probably be sensible to suggest that they would be the more likely to push on. But I don't think either side have enough to be looking at top 6. So I honestly believe it will be the battle for 10th position, and hopefully we're the ones getting that. But they seem to look all right so far. They're not breaking any records or ripping up any trees, but they seem like a solid squad.
Yeah, they're doing all right. They just went to Stoke and went 2-0 down and got it back to 2-2, and they're just drawn with Leeds as well. So similar to you guys, really. They're not winning many games, but they aren't losing many either. So, okay, all good on that score. We've also got to ask you for your October Player of the Month. So let's jump straight into that. If you can think of a player that's been consistent enough, Etienne.
Kane Kesler-Hayden, first one that came to mind for me. Very impressive. A lot of fans have fallen in love with him. Willing to get down the right, exactly what we've been looking for, what we have been looking for under Lowe, and he's coming in the season that Lowe's not here. And Heckingbottom is making the most of that. He is fantastic. He's probably going to end up on the left, I think, next month, if Potts comes in on the right. But yeah, absolutely fantastic and a brilliant loan deal.
Yeah, you can't win it every month though. Let's have that right.
I think Ali McCann for me. I'm slightly torn between him and Lindsay, but with the amount of goals we conceded, you can't really pick a centre back. Ali McCann just seems to be getting better and better on a weekly basis. He seems to improve. Big fan. I just wish he could learn to pass the ball more than 5 yards. I think if he did that, I don't think we'd keep him for long. I think he'd go to a much higher up team. So really impressed with him, and he gets my vote.
Okay. All right then. We mentioned the Arsenal game at the start of the theme. Ash, you've commented before about the atmosphere at Deepdale. This Arsenal game is an opportunity for fans to kind of come to a game, watch a Premier League side, and for Deepdale to come alive for once, isn't it? How important is it that the team don't concede in the first 3 minutes?
See, for me, in a game like this, I don't think the score is that important. It's good to have a chance to see how we fare against one of those teams, and it's always nice to win. But in reality, they finished second in the Premier League last year, and I think to assume we'd get anything from that type of game is naive. So it's one of them for me where there's no pressure, and I think everybody should just go and enjoy themselves, and hopefully that creates a good atmosphere.
Absolutely. Etienne, you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Arsenal, massive club. It's a good opportunity for us. If we can pull off a shock, brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Go do a cup run, because we have been fantastic in the Carabao Cup this season. But at the same time, I don't want us to be well beaten. I remember the Tottenham game under Lowe, thinking, this is not the way I want to lose to a big team. If we could put up a fight like we did in 2017 against them, and be unlucky to lose in some respect, I'd be really happy.
Okay. All right. Well, all the Championship, apart from a couple of sides, obviously, are on your side. We'll be cheering you on Wednesday night. Before we let you go, though, it's Halloween, of course, and we want you to be a little bit evil and get rid of 3 teams from the division that are getting on your nerves. I can probably predict a couple of them already, but which fan bases are getting too big for their boots, and would you like to see the back of? Let's have 3 names off each of you. Etienne, start us off.
Blackburn, obviously. Just want them to go down. I want them to suffer. And I really want to say Burnley, but I've got 2 other teams in my mind that I just really hate. Coventry. I think I love absolutely battering them every time we play them, and I just think they're getting too big for their boots. And then I really hate Swansea. I don't know why. I think they ride off that 12-13 season where they got into that final too much. I think they're too much of a big club for their own boots. They're a Championship club. I think they're a bottom side Championship club, and I don't get why a lot of people don't think that as well. So I'd relegate them.
Okay, interesting. Cheers, Etienne. Ash?
Yeah, drum roll here, but I think you know the first one. Yes, definitely Blackburn Rovers, isn't it? Come on, you've got to get rid of them. Any opportunity to send them down, I'd be happy. Coventry, I kind of agree, because I think the fans can be quite pompous online, especially on Twitter, but it's almost a guaranteed at least 3 points every season. So I think we need to keep them up for that. Plymouth have really annoyed me from the weekend, and I didn't like a lot of their fans last season. So let's go Plymouth second, and then it's tough for a third one. I mean, maybe Burnley. I'm torn between Burnley and Leeds. Not that either would go down, but I think to get rid of one of them, I think I'll go Burnley.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. There was quite a few clubs that put you guys down there, not because they disliked you, but just put you down there because they're just tired of you doing nothing in this division. Just going, look, they don't go down. Just they might as well just go. So we're going. We need Preston to do something this season. But yeah. I'm sure you can share that point of view at Bristol City. I suppose equally works for them as well, doesn't it? But yeah, Coventry did put you down as well because they're sick of losing to you. That's the only the reason that. Yeah, but you're not just like
maybe they might get promoted if we went down. Maybe you never know.
Yeah, but you're not disliked by anyone apart from Blackburn. Obviously, seems to be getting a bit more heated, that rivalry. Right.
Boring that lot. Okay. I just have nothing else to shout about, and their actual rivals, Burnley, are just 10 times better than them. So they
were saying we were trying to force it. It's been completely the other way ever since they came back up.
Agreed, completely.
Right. Okay. Listen, you two, enjoy your Wednesday night. Do the Championship proud, I hope, and we'll see you on the other side of the Bristol City game. Enjoy. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.